Oh, we check the cameras?
Yep, I did.
I mean, is it pointing at me? Yes, it is. Hello, everybody! Better start streaming. Yeah, streaming. I think everything's good to go. Right. Oh, hang on a second. Hello. Oh, my goodness. I tell you what, all these people requesting music are going to regret this.
We've got Come On Eileen ready.
We got Come On Eileen ready. Oh, my God, I'm blocking the camera now.
And we also have an unwelcome singer.
Unwelcome? Unwell. Do you mean unwell or unwelcome on?
Unwelcome.
Unwelcome. Right. I know that after my last singing performance, I've had absolutely zero requests to ever sing again. But come on, Eileen, you can't do it just on a violin. So we're doing a very shortened version. Take it away, Arnie B, while people log in. I've got some good stuff tonight. Let's give people a chance to log in. Loads of people online. It's great to see. I can't play the intro. I did try. Oh, I went over there. Poor old Johnny Ray. It sounded sad on the radio, made a million hearts in my heart. Our mothers cry. As long as you blame them, bad and smoked up is designed to fit their fate. Oh, come on, everything. Come on, Eileen. No, I swear Eileen means this moment means everything. You mean everything. You in that dress, my thoughts I confess. So dirty. Oh, come on, Eileen, please. Come on, all join it. Eileen to hooray. Eileen to hooray. Come on, come on, Eileen, hey, come on, Eileen, come on, Eileen, come on, Eileen, no, I swear what he means at this moment. He means everything. You in that dress, my thoughts are confessed, bitch, I'm dirty. Come on, Eileen, please. Oh, there you go, about that. Right, I should put the guitar away for another couple of months. Do we have anyone still watching, Arnie? Just out of interest, has everyone switched off yet?
Someone's asked where the mute button is.
Don't blame me. There you go. Woo! Right, well, here we are. Stinking head cold all day. I don't know if it's blinking hay fever or I picked something up. You know, it's like, ugh, but there we are. So, I'm not always saying like that. Sometimes I am worse. So you've been warned, okay? So if you pick a song, if anyone requests more songs, I would suggest you request songs that work well as a violin solo, okay? Anyway, bit of fun on a Sunday evening because we got loads of stuff tonight. So, Arnie, we got the comments up?
Yep, I'll just see.
This is weird. How come we haven't got the comments? Oh, there we go. Hello, Gavin Lloyd. I'm sure the original had lyrics. Yes, thank you, Gavin. Yes, they're very difficult lyrics, all right? And I realised when I got the lyrics I've been singing it wrong all my life. The camel is hairy. I don't know what that means. Julian, thank you, Taliesin. Hello, everybody. David Hoops. Great. So I got a great. I think I already got a great, really. No, we've all left, says Linda. Ask Alan Wilson what he thinks. Oh, Jesus, someone is smashing up the kitchen again. All right, that was Barham, all right? That wasn't me smashing up his kitchen, okay? Right, hello. I got a bit of a clap. Right.
You just dropped Barham in it.
I did drop Barham in it, yes. Are you allergic to cat hair, Ross? I hope not. Our cat, yeah, a cat always sleeps on top of me, usually, so, no, I don't know if it's the pollen or something, or just, coming back out. Anyway, don't worry about that. I'm fine, all right? Just felt a bit heavy. And sing is difficult. So of all the weeks it could have happened, eh? Right, okay, now this has been a huge week. I mean, a huge week. So many exciting things have happened, and unfortunately, there's not many of them I can tell you about. I know this is going to be really frustrating for people, but you will understand why when we get to it. We are concerned, the main stories later on, a little bit of an update. These are the two biggest stories. I mean, how do you follow these, eh? Something about the burial place site of King Arthur II, Morgan and Gwent. An update on that, I'll be looking for it. And also, the burial place of Jesus is not where we thought it was, which is the reason why I've been a bit cagey about putting the book out yet, because I was not confident or happy about it. And now we've nailed that down. And the bizarre comment, I never ever thought I would be saying this on a history channel, is we've used some psychic archaeology. I know I'd have been the first person going, what a load of nonsense, psychic nonsense, babble, whatever, but it's been extremely useful. And I'll give some outline of what's happened, right? Which shortened our research time by weeks, I would say. And it also avoided, let's say that word, avoided the Jesus book going out with the wrong information about where the actual body is, okay? Oops. So the delay has actually worked out well, and I've written an additional last chapter to explain what's happened, okay? Which I will try and talk about a bit. So there we go. Let's follow that, as they say. Follow that. Right, okay, so I need to, first of all, got quite a lot of interesting things happened this week. So let's get the slideshow up and get straight in, I think. Oh, I should say welcome, so I always forget to do this, don't I? So, hello and welcome to the show. There we are. That sing-song was took the breath out of me, literally. So, if you're new to this, it's not normally that crazy, although it's not. Try and put a laugh. We can do these things with a laugh. They're very serious subjects, but there's no point getting depressed and sad about it. We can still have fun on a Sunday evening or whenever you're watching. So, the overall situation is that Britain had this amazing, rich history going all the way back to the migrations. We're talking about 1600 BC. And they're well recorded, and this used to be the history everyone in Britain knew. They knew it was their history, it was talked about. Shakespeare wrote Troilus and Cressida, a play set in Troy, because everyone realised the British had migrated from Troy. You got a play about King Lear, who was an old British king, pre-Roman. London was well recorded before the Romans, all this kind of stuff, and it goes on and on and on. One of the big stories being that Christianity started in Britain before Rome. And the version of Christianity is quite a bit different, and that's the new book that's coming out, which is now complete, thank goodness. Because it was supposed to come out ages ago, but good job he held on, as it turned out. So then you have them, moving on from there, then you have this myth of the Romans completely invading and dominating Britain for 400 years, when it turns out they were hardly here at all, particularly not in Wales. So we talk about that sometimes, and then we get on to the King Arthur stuff. And what's called the Dark Ages, which is a propaganda word because it's not dark at all. It's tons of records, extremely well recorded. But whoever the powers you shouldn't be or whatever, rather we didn't know this, because it all started. Well, the persecution of the Christian story has been going on for pretty much since it started, almost 2,000 years. And the persecution of the rest of the Welsh history and British history really got going when the Hanoverians took the throne around about 1714. And that's when all these myths were invented, like the British are Celts and they came from Europe. And if you're new to this subject, get yourself a history book written before 1700, such as, I know, Cambria's Triumphants by Percy Enderby. Completely different. But all this is now being thrown on the myths and legends rubbish, and we have to learn this Anglo-Saxon version. So there you go. Hope you like that little summary. So let's put this up on the screen. Let's hope this works. Yes, it does. I can see as well. Right, let's look at some of the comments. Hello, Graham. Yeah, hey, Graham. Good to see you, mate. Here's a clever chap. One sugar in my cup of tea. Who designed the Senedd? I don't know anything about the Senedd. I wish it had been in Merthyr. I know that. I don't know why I put more stuff in Cardiff. You can't get it out of Cardiff in the mornings anyway. So we need more stuff up. Right, let's get on to politics. Okay, so we got this here. So some stuff, yeah, before I get any further, and I'm sorry, I'm going to immediately jump out of this because I haven't put a proper card up for this one. This is very worrying, and I'm thinking that people in the group might know more about this than I do, okay? Which is this thing which has happened It's about pathways and access. Because another thing we do on this channel a lot is visit the places. And there's a lot, like a couple of places we went to this week, which are on farmland and they're out the beaten track. And the idea of this stupid thing, this new, if people know more about it, please let me know. We need to do something. Can't ignore this. The overall situation seems to be that if you don't register a particular path, the rights of access will be lost. And it'll be considered trespass. And this applies to the forests, which I'm really, really suspicious about anyway. Because as you know, they seem to put these conifers trees on the places of historical interest. So if we can't go in and have a look even when they cut the trees down, we still can't see anything. So this was on Facebook. I don't know much about it, and I've commented and people are giving me stuff. And then you got farmers. What's going on? Sorry, okay. So there's a battle with the farmers and all this kind of stuff, because some farmers don't realise they've got paths and they have to be reclaimed, which I think that's a bit putting them a nice trying to positive spin on this. You can guarantee if this goes through, we'll have less paths. And what I'd like to mention, I will talk about this next week in more detail. I'm trying to avoid this subject. It does get very contentious, but it has to be discussed. And that's the laws of Mulmud, which go all the way back to the 5th century AD, not BC. Aha! Alan Wilson's cracked all this as well. It's different to what we've been shown. But the point of it is, you have inalienable rights. And if you don't know, inalienable means it cannot be taken away. It's God-given. You're born with these rights. It's like the right to breathe, which I'm in a bit of trouble with tonight. These are inalienable rights. You don't need permission. You don't need a law. You don't need to register. And the right to come and go as you please is one of those inalienable rights. You know, as long as you're not obviously causing criminal damage or disturbing livestock, you can walk over places, okay? Excuse me 1 second. I think it's hay fever, I think. Right, oh my goodness, there's an interesting post there about how things are designed and stuff. I don't know much about that, so I can't really help. Right, okay, so please, I'm asking now for help. I haven't got time to look into this. We need to find out what we need to do. Because clearly a lot of what we do is visiting. I mean, the one that immediately springs to mind, if you know, above Caerphilly, everyone knows Caerphilly Castle, second biggest castle in Europe. It's massive, it's down in the town. But the British castle, the Welsh castle, is up on the hill on the way to, it's not called Tromorva. Where the crematorium is anyway. It's over that way. Come on, Ross. Anyway, that's the one that matters. And that gate has been chained up for a long time now. And we need a campaign to get that gate open and use that path and register that path. Otherwise, that castle will become inaccessible. And we know it's like, if no one's been there for a few years, next thing you know, there'll be houses there, okay? This is really important.
Is that the castle up behind, like, that steakhouse?
Yeah, behind the Traveller's Rest, yes. On halfway up the hill, that's right. On the way up from Cardiff. Even Tony Robinson said something similar. Yeah, okay.
Tony Robinson?
That's Baldrick, who does this sort of time team stuff. Who's very good, as long as it's Roman. We don't see eye to eye on much. But anyway, everyone's concerned about this, I think, okay?
Mummy wanted you to say again.
What? Say again? What again?
Tell this guy to stop kicking me. Mummy said,
what?
Can everyone stop posting politics and stuff?
Yeah, don't bring any contentious modern politics in. Yeah, thank you, Angie's pointing that, because we, in this age of censorship, I'm afraid, channels do get closed, alright? So, it's sad that we live like that, but there we go. Anyway, let's resume the slideshow. Alright, so please get back to me on that one. Right, okay. This one's a bit more fun. And I'm going to announce that Lee Pennington has very kindly agreed to come back on after another interview. I was really looking forward to that. A bit more time this time. He was rushing off last time. And I went to all sorts of things. So what I'd like is please, people can put on the comments, and Ali can make a note of them perhaps, and send me emails what questions you'd like to ask Lee. I mean, the general theme I want to go through is that, if you don't know, he spent a lot of time with Alan Wilson back in the 90s, and he's a filmmaker. And if you go to this website, God, it's messy, awkward doing this.
Why is the computer crashing?
Computer's crashing? Oh, your computer, not mine, I hope. Oh, no, please don't say that. Please don't say that.
It's not mine.
Alright, so he's a filmmaker. He makes some fantastic films. And in 1994, you get this great film here with Alan. He came over to Wales, and he did a fantastic job. Absolutely amazing. Covers so many stories about the Welsh history, how the history's suppressed. A little clip, maybe give some clues to where Jesus is buried. There's all sorts of stuff in there. So go to Cho, which is his sadly passed wife, Joe, and Lee Productions, Joe Lee Productions, okay? So I'd highly recommend that. You go through then, if you go to order, you can see different videos where he's travelled far and wide, made good films. And I've been watching the one we're looking for is Welsh History and Bondage. Yeah, don't search bondage. Just search Welsh history, okay? So as he puts it here, suppose there were records indicating your country had a rich and important history dating back some 3,000 years. And the traditional scholars failed to recognise, or even worse, completely ignored these records. Suppose also that the most famous king in the world, your country's most famous native son, is described by scholars as probably a myth, or at best, a legend based on some minor Roman soldier. Such is the case in Wales. And it's excellent. Angie and I watched it again because we got a copy from a couple of years ago and I'd sort of forgotten all about it really. But, watched it again and watched it twice. And there's also stuff from when Alan was in America. All these links are in the show notes, as they say. And if you look upon here, there is a talk that he gave. I haven't checked the video, but I think you can watch it there. I got this a little bit of this. A bit young Alan. And then there's a transcript, which is very handy. Copyright Wilson and Blackett, here we go. So be careful, you show a little bit. Yeah, okay, so let's just jump forward a bit. Okay, so that's a presentation there. So there is stuff you can do, okay? So that'd be great. Right, okay, let's get back to this. Oh. Come on. Okay, I'm going to get to the big stuff as well. Alright, what are the comments we got there? Arnie is badass tonight. Has been banned on you, I've been banned on another 30 on Facebook, lol. Yeah, okay, you think so, alright. Yeah, no, I know, Chris, whatever, but it's not happening here, okay? I don't want to sound rude about it, but we're not getting closed down just to rant about some politics, okay? There's plenty of other places to do that, and this isn't one of them. Sorry to be harsh, but we cannot risk everything based on having a rant, okay? Right, here's a good one, again from David Mosley, or David, sorry, David I always call him. And this is fantastic, because what we're looking at last few weeks is how there's been, it's remarkable, like I was saying last week, I put a top 10 British finds in the British Museum, none of them are actually called British.
They're all Viking, Saxon,
yeah, Roman,
no
yeah.
one, I think, no.
One is called medieval, but nothing's actually called British. Oh, Jesus, hay fever. We'll have a shorter show tonight, I think. So, yeah, and it's bizarre, okay? So my joke is, the last time you see the word British at the British Museum is on the sign on the name badges. You don't see it again. Now, what David has found, he lives up in sort of Jutland, up in this bit here, a bit sticking up. So part Danish, part German. I think he's German at the moment. And, yeah, I'm going to learn German because David's told us here. I was going to read out what David's written, which is fantastic. Because one of the ones we were talking about last week, as he says there, was the Galloway Hoard, found in Dumfries near the Irish Sea, okay? Now if you go to the... Oh, I can't do it like that, can I? If you go to their British Museum listing about it, it's Viking. It's ridiculous. Even there's nothing particularly Viking about it. They just don't seem to consider it being British. It's really, really weird. The more you get into this, the more crazy it gets, you know? So, as David says here, we talk about the Galloway Hoard. The experts describe it as being Viking, and that includes the largest and most varied collection of Viking-age gold objects known from Britain and Ireland, and an unparalleled range of rare materials and unusual objects. They also describe an entirely new type of Anglo-Saxon cross-shaped brooch and unique multi-hinge straps. I mean, you know, the British were Christian, as we'll talk about a bit more in a minute.
They were pagan, the Saxons.
The Anglo-Saxons are pagan, but they started making crosses, and there we go. So why is it being described as Viking? Because it was thought to have been buried sometime during the 10th century, the so-called Viking era. Even that date has no substance. They just make up a date. Honestly, I know it sounds terrible. It sounds ridiculous, but that's what happens. You can't date these things. So they can't make it any earlier, because that makes it British. Same with Sutton Hoo. We've got a long series on that if you have a chance to look. And show there's nothing Anglo or Saxon about Sutton Hoo. And the dates are wrong. But they have to shove it in those dates because then, you know, you can make it not British. What is going on? It's bonkers. Right, so none of the entirely new types of ornament Hang on, I can't highlight it because you'll click to the next one on it. Are described as possibly being British, despite the amount of gold and silver present and the known fact that the Vikings never mined their own gold or silver. So there you go. Now the Danes, this is where the museum that Dav has been to, yet the Danes themselves say that they extracted silver by the ton and gold in hundreds of kilos in tribute from Britain. Tribute in this sense means give us this and we'll leave you alone. So they got the Dane gelts.
Like ransom then.
Yeah, blackmail really, pay them off. So here's a photograph of a display cabinet in a German museum located in the once Viking region of what's now Schleswig-Holstein, otherwise known as the Kimbrick, you see that link again with Kimbrick, or Jutland Peninsula. It is part of a display about the extent of 9th, 10th century Viking incursions, and the caption states, "The monasteries of Britain, the Christian Britain, are centres of the artisan crafts, where objects of sacramental use are created to the highest level of technical and artistic standards. The valuable metal and enamel works were a much sought after plunder for Vikings." So, if you go abroad, it's fine to call something British and explain that the Vikings would come raiding because they want to steal it, which makes perfect sense. Especially with, you think about the exposed coastal monasteries and churches and stuff like that, very poorly guarded, tons of gold and silver items, a load of blokes come raiding up the sea, and there you go, and suddenly the items become Viking, okay? Right, let's have a look. What we got here? Yes, Lucy Elastic 60's worth going to. That's their Alan Hassel stuff. Tons of information there. It's a frustrating format because when it puts a line up, you have to wait another line and late. But it is very good stuff. Right, one from Zoe Spencer, a new member of the group, and she's been drawing these maps herself, and they are fantastic. She's a brilliant artist, and I should have put a link up. I do apologise. I'll put a link up next week to Zoe's studio, where she's done all sorts of wonderful paintings, there's music. Very good to have her part of the group. And one thing she's been looking into is the really ancient stuff. So, for example, here, excuse me. Dear, last thing I need. Right, so can you believe sometime between 1937 and now, the Grand Druid elliptical colonnade at Cwm Mawr, Efionydd, and every trace of its existence has been totally destroyed? Well, yes, I can believe it. According to a lad on megalithic site, my great-grandfather destroyed this circle. He had to pay land tax on the site. The law stated that the landowner or landholder had the responsibility of clearing the land of boulders, etc., and making the land arable. It's always thing about food production, isn't it? Really upsets me, this does. I intend to replace all these removed sites of special interests on the new map I'm creating of Wales. So, looking forward to that. Now, this reminds me of a story. When we went up to Mynydd Baden, which is a site mentioned a lot in the last couple of shows, all about the famous battle King Arthur fought up there, and you can see these massive entrenchments. One of the locals there said the same thing, only that was in the 1960s, I believe, where some suits turned up and asked him to plough out all the ridges and everything, under the guise of food production or whatever, but it's destroying our history. And you tie this in with the ancient, with the way the paths are being made inaccessible. It really is frightening to see this censorship going on in front of our very eyes. Right, so one from Ellis Taylor, who I think is watching. Hello, Ellis. Known as Good Grandy as well. And this is, I want to go on to Welsh Pyramids. Because what Ellis is showing here, the first time I came across this view, I was astonished. A pyramid in Wales. I had to stop and take a photo. It's called Foel Dragan, a massively important hill fort with 3 round stone-built enclosure cairns in a row, and evidence of hundreds of houses. Physically, I got that it was a palace. So I think we put a bit more about this up. Yeah, here we go. It's perhaps worth mentioning what Ellis is doing. This again ties in with the psychic archaeology I'm going to talk about. Is there are energy lines running through, well, everywhere, but the ones he's been following are the ones mostly in West Wales. Oh my goodness. Terry Wogan never had this trouble. So he's been doing it now for 5 years, and I don't quite understand how he gets the energy, he tunes into it, and it seems to work, and it's worked on there. On something else. So don't scoff. If you're new to all this, you think, a load of nonsense and all this kind of thing. There is a spiritual element. One thing I like to say to people is if you walk into, say you walk into a room, and two people have just had a row. And you walk into that room, the two of them might smile at you and go, hey, hello, how are you? But you know, that they've had a row, right? You can feel the crackle in the atmosphere. What is that? Or that feeling you get sometimes you think you're being watched. You can't hear anything, can't see anything, but you just get this sensation, alright? So, there are things you understand. I'm not very good at this. You know, I've tried the dowsing and that. I've had some success in dowsing, actually, but I think some people are very analytical and really break things down and want to know the science behind it, all this kind of thing. Other people just do it, and they're the ones who can do it. Sure, I would highly recommend you have a look at, again, I'll put this in the description, and you can see where these paths and everything trail around. Now, the pyramids I'm interested in, because Darren Taylor, I hope you're out there, he pointed out a possible pyramid to me 2-3 years ago. I think it might be a pyramid. I'm not going to say where it is, because I want Darren to come on, and we'll do a show, and he can show everybody what he thinks, and I want to go up there. All I would say is it's not very far from where I live. Okay, so there's a clue. So come on, Darren, let's get up there. I can almost see it from my house. How about that? That's a bit freaky, isn't it? And I think I found another one, which is huge, and I will tell you what that is, because that's one I've spotted. And I should put some photographs up. I'll put them up next week, alright? So I'll add that to my list, but it's near Llantrisant, okay? Now, has anyone got any ideas why we'd have pyramids, eh? That's weird, isn't it? This is getting weird and weirder and weirder. So, it's a bit of a weird one tonight. Right, another one here which involves David. What we have here, I need some help, is someone has found this, the metal detector. Thinks he found it in Scotland. Sorry, it's been really small on your screens. I need to put a bigger one up. I'll come back to this next week, because David's shown, I mean, he's been putting up with a pretty good argument that it's actually Danish runes. So you wonder why that's in Scotland. I think maybe a lot later than we think. Maybe it's medieval or something. And I was also trying to work it out with Colburn, which is something we'll get on to soon, okay? So bear this in mind, we'll come back to it. Right, psychic archaeology. I'll put this rather nice picture up for you to see. And this is Bob Morgan, researcher, who's taking the pictures. You can't see Bob, unfortunately. And then we've got Graham King. Then we've got Steve Pole, myself in the middle, looking very Indy Jones, my hat on. And then we've got Julian, and then we've got Tim, who you know from the videos. Alright, this is our intrepid team, plus Bob, all in the back of a Land Rover. Because where we were going was very difficult to access, okay? So, this is, it's difficult here because I can't give much away. I want to give people a taster, alright? I think it's very interesting. There's a pyramid in Powys. Zoe. Zoe, hello Zoe, there we are. Thank you for that map. Good luck with those. As they progress, I'll put them up on the page. Johnny Nigma, I've been to some of Ellis's lectures in Swansea about dragon lines, etc. Really interesting stuff. Excellent. Talking of lectures, before the end, I need to put a thing on here. Robin Heath, one of my absolute heroes. He is doing a lecture and a talk next Friday, the 4th of June, which I'll be attending. And I'll be filming, and I'll try and have a chat with Robin as well for an interview. If you don't know Robin Heath, go and find him. Go on YouTube, go to Megalithomania, Robin Heath. Because he is, well, he's just brilliant. He's just a hero of mine. He's just mapped out so many stone circles and arrangements of stones all around West Wales. He's done books on it. He's funny. He does presentations. He's great. He's miles ahead of the stuff you see on the TV. I'll put a link up to the video. I'll find it. When this big story broke on the Beeb a few months ago that, hey, Stonehenge came from Preseli. He's done all that years ago. I mean, it's outrageous he didn't get recognised at all. But that's how it is. If you come onto our side of the fence, as it were, if you start questioning mainstream narratives and producing new evidence that doesn't fit the story, you're not going to get recognised. That's the deal. So he's not complaining. I'm not complaining. But I do want to promote his books and his work and make more people aware of it, which is what we have to do. We have to help each other. Right, now the reason we're here... right, here we go. As you know, I've been telling everybody for months now that the body of Jesus is... How much time we got? All right. The body of Jesus, that's before the 10 pints of the pub, yes, is buried on Ynys. All right? Now, I sincerely believe this. It seemed the most likely place. I felt Alan had sort of told us that. It seemed to be where he was saying it was. And if you remember, on December 22nd at dawn, on the dawning of the new era, I was there, 5:30 in the morning, in the rain and the cold and the clouds. On a miserable time. Not miserable time, that's not fair. Very exciting time, but it was, it was early and it was cold, it was wet. And we're trying to find it. The problem is, we then had, where on the island is this body, right? So there was 4 or 5 possible locations. So we did a lot of work. Bob's done surveys, Steve's been down there, come all the way up from Dorset. We mapped it out, we've flown it over it. We did all the work, we're trying to work out, and we could not narrow it down. Alright, so we're down to about 5 possible sites. So what do you do in that situation? I'm trying to get Alan back involved, Alan and Barham. They actually like, I've done this 30 years ago, I can't remember, I can't be bothered, you do it, Ross, they want me to do it, get it done, get it up. So I am hoping to go up there and see him face to face, obviously not if I'm sneezing, but otherwise, very soon. And I would like to go through it with him and say, give us some feedback on this, and I will put that interview up as soon as I have it. And also Lee Pennington, because he was out there back in the 90s. But it's clear they did not want to give out exact details at the time. And what we do now is one of those things, you'll have to look in the book to see how we've dealt with that. So, the situation then, what can you do? So, a few people have suggested, like Michael J. Dramanko and other people have approached me, let's try dowsing and let's try people with different skills. So we've been up there, Ellis we just talked about. I went up there with Ellis. I've been up there with people who can do dowsing. I've been up with, I don't want to talk too much about the psychic archaeologists and the names and everything, that's in the book. But I just want to say that I've been up with a few. And they've all come back with unanimously, and including someone very close to me. He's also got these sort of abilities and feel energy. Not on the island. All of them. People dowsing, people going up following ley lines, people twiddling pendants, the whole lot. No one. Everyone's saying it's not there. So, what do you do in that situation? Well, you have to go back to the original source material and look at everything Alan's written on this. I got tons of notes here, went through it all, which was going to be in the book anyway. I just hadn't really clicked and thought about it. So, the chapter 13, as it's famously become known, has got a description of the place with place names and stuff. But all the place names change over time, but it's a good description. And that video I mentioned from Lee Pennington, you get a couple of glimpses, although he's very clever not to give it away too much. So, you get very clever blokes who are very dedicated, like Steve and Bob particularly, who they hadn't met each other at the time, I gave them both the stuff to do and go off and see what they can find. And they tracked it all through the maps and gone through everything and found the spot. So how exciting is that? So, but of course, as Bob says, then we got the target, then we need to find the bullseye. Where is it on the target? So, again, we took up... I just feel a bit daft talking about this, honestly, because I know a lot of people out there are going to go, it's ridiculous, using these kind of methods. But we're also using all the historical documents. The people who are involved are not given any information, any clues. When everyone comes up with the same answer, you start to wonder. So we have now got what we think is the site. So you can read all about that in the book, which is now going to go on sale tomorrow, which is good news. Just put the index, time to change a few things because of the extra chapter. And people can have a go at it. Alright, so that's going to be... I'm really looking forward to the feedback on that one. Because the way we've decided to go with it is Wilson and Black. It give me a certain amount of information to give out, which is what we use to find it. So that information is going to be in the book as it was given to us. The only difference is we will put some updated photographs. Excuse me. But anyway, so I shouldn't... Probably said too much already about that, but I want to say there, one of the things with this Britain Hidden History project, these are now, plus Bob, 5 of my closest friends, and I hadn't met any of them before we started doing this. This is what you want to use the group for, okay? And also, like Steve and Bob, they're really keen on doing the research, the maps, the surveying, drones, all that kind of thing, and they now talk to each other a lot. Similarly, we've got Marshall and Ashley, who are in this group. They're working with Yvonne Whiteman, who's the person behind the Colburn Bible, and they're making amazing progress with stuff there. So nothing to do with me. They're cracking on. These guys are cracking on. I'm just trying to emphasise this idea. It doesn't all come through me. All right? I like to be the front guy who says, here it is, and put it on the channel. I've had someone send me some videos. That's John Pitcher, so I'm trying to get those up either during the week or on next week's show. People are getting involved. You need to do something, all right? Don't just be a passive consumer. There's an easy one today. Find out what is this legislation about registering paths and stuff. What do we have to do? What can we do? Can we campaign? Do we have to just register paths? Should we look for all our historic paths? Like, for example, this place you can see on the photograph there. We had to walk across the fields, or a couple of fields, to get to what we're looking for. Will that become illegal? I'm really concerned. Because similarly, while we had all these psychic people around, we had a couple of ideas of where the actual burial mound of King Arthur II is. It is on Mount of the Gear, okay, so it's up on Fortress Mountain. There's a few possibilities of where it was, and we think we now know. And that's, again, I'll try and share it at some point, but it's very difficult. So get involved. That's what I'm trying to do. Please, more people get involved, because there's so much to do. And I've been sent another really nice person on the comments sent a thing about loads more information about potential Welsh, what would you call them? Evidence of Welsh settlement, going back to the 6th century Maddock thing. I'll put those links up as well there. I mean, there's videos, there's stuff. He's got everything lined up. I haven't got time to look at it at the moment. It's all ours, because as soon as this book goes out, we're going to get the re-indexing on the Trojan War. Then the Odyssey book comes out. And there's the myth of Roman Britain. You know what I mean? It's like conveyor belts, and I've fallen behind. I need to catch up. So this is for everyone. I will give support, help, put the stuff up you want to publicise it, if you want information, you want help. Anything I can do to help, all right? But so it's wonderful. So there's wonderful people there. And what you'll find is you make great friends. I've got so many friends now made from Britain's hidden history. Loads, like Marshall and David, people you don't even see on here who just work behind the scenes. So get involved, all right? Don't just be a passive consumer. Give me the comments up, please. And he's accidentally looking at old American muscle cars. Right, okay, let's have a look. What else we got there? The national newspaper about the Breton language being, what does that say? Samshed? Okay, smashed. Smashed. There's a typo. It's not, well done, Arnie, it's not Samshed, it's smashed. Breton being smashed and harassed by the French government, removing of signs. St. John, if you could find me some links on that, and I'll put them up next week's show, okay? Because clearly this Breton language is crucial. This is where it all went wrong. When you got Edward Lloyd back in 1707, spotted that the Welsh, the British languages, Manx, Cornish, Welsh, parts of Scotland, were similar to Breton. We had 2 and 2 equals 5 and assumed the language came from Europe to Britain, rather than the colonisation of Brittany, which took place in 383, which the name Brittany is a big clue. Well, the language being called Breton is probably a clue. And another thing I like to look at as well is how many of, I think it's at least a third, it could be a half, of William the Conqueror's army were Bretons, and a chunk were Flemish. So all those Bretons might have spoke a British-type tongue. Everyone assumes they all spoke French. Well, they didn't, did they? So maybe I have to look again at the invaders. You need a brandy or 3, Ross. Thank you, Gary. You think that's the way to do it, yeah? Now, I'm going to do something to clear my head a bit.
I
don't think a Guinness is a good idea. I think I need a brandy. Right, Ross, you mentioned about Coity Castle many months ago. I visited today. It's completely closed, as it's defrosting is going on. No idea when it will reopen. Yeah, no, I am aware it's closed. This is what I want to be aware of. If you could try and get any... Thank you for going to Coity Castle. It's another one of these ones I'm very nervous about, because there's very clear evidence there of Welsh castle building. It's not Norman, it's Welsh. There are Norman-style extensions, but it's Welsh. And one of the things you want to look at on that... I'm hoping that Lee will let me put a couple of clips up from his video, Welsh History and Bondage, because it's Alan at his peak, back in the 90s. He's on full fire, he's in his sardonic wit. And as he says there, where all these people come from to build all these castles? There weren't many Normans turned up. They're only on the south coast, very few of them. Where'd they get the manpower and everything? It's bizarre, this idea that the Normans built them all. And also, if you look at it, if you read the story of how the Normans got into Wales, they talk about how they took the castles. Well, how can they take the castles if they haven't built them yet? You know, it's bonkers. So, and Coity is one of those where I'm very concerned. I've taken some footage myself. If you can try and get, I think you can get on the path around the side of it, take some photographs, have a look and see if we can keep an eye on what's going on there. Don't open it up suddenly and go, hang on, this looks different. We need evidence. And the same with all these things. We've got to get to the sites, we've got to take pictures, we've got to take videos, and print them out in paper and make sure we don't lose them for good, okay?
You need to take fexofenadine.
Fexofenadine. Oh, thank you. Whatever that is.
You can only get it
Hang on, there was more on the show. Where's it gone? Oh, well, back to me then. That's going to be a very short show, isn't it? I know there was something else I want to talk about. Oh, yeah, there was... it's going to be short tonight. I'm sorry, I'm really struggling here. I hate to cut it short. I love this. The highlight of my week. And we got so many people watching.
Oh, defracing is spraying the walls with fungicidals. I think that's not...
Fungicidals.
Fungicidals to remove all vegetation to the roots.
Maybe the Normans and others copied the building of castles off the Britons. I think this is really possible. Dean Morgan, I agree with you. You cannot poison a body back to good health. We're talking about me or the history. I went on rights of way training several years ago. The changes are very worrying. Right, Johnny, I'll get you on the show, okay? You can be on a guest, explain to us about rights of way. I think it's really important. Because, like this, went up to the Lion's Stone with Marshall and Simon. You know, mind your own business, went up there to have a look, and a farmer came and turfed us off. What was really embarrassing was when I was doing some filming for the Iconic channel, which is Gareth Icke, which is, of course, the famous David Icke's son. He's got a channel, look for it, it's called Iconic, and they came all the way up from London. We set up the cameras by the Lion's Stone. I was giving the story about the migrations and the lost history, all this kind of stuff. And it wasn't the farmer. It was some sort of hired hand who came screaming up on his four-wheel thing, scaring all the sheep. We were just minding our own business, being quiet. And he threw us off well and truly, really nastily as well, quite aggressively, which obviously a bit embarrassing for me. I would take these people all the way up there. So it'd be good to know what our rights are in these situations. Do we have a right to roam? Oh, excuse me. Because
Tissues.
I did use tissues. What do you think I used? God, dear, I'm a schoolboy humour. So anyway, he's a schoolboy, so why not? He's always bunged up, so it has to be allergies. Yeah, thank you, Carl. I like the way I was discussing my health in front of me. I am here, you know. So, because it's no good me going back and quoting Malmudian law at them and stuff written in 450 that we have a right to roam and a right to come and go and do our own business. As long as you're not causing any damage, you're not wearing any livestock, all that kind of thing, I think you have a right to go places. David, though, was good attitude towards this. He's like, no one owns this land. It's been there for thousands of years, and our ancestors have, we're just borrowing it, if you like, from our descendants or inheriting it, whichever way you look at it. We have a right to be there. Right, okay. Does anyone else want to... you have a right to roam and forage on unsecured land. Thank you, Alan. I know there's something about this. I don't understand the laws, though, so if you explain what unsecured land is. He sounds half dead. Yeah, thank you, John. I think I'm going to have to cut things short today. Oh, no, it's only halfway through, isn't it?
43 minutes.
43 minutes, okay. Please read What Makes You Really Ill. All right, thank you. I will... we've got 90 people watching live. Oh, that's so upsetting to have to cut things short there. But I've covered the main points. So also, please could give ideas what we're going to do with all this information. What are we going to do with... also the book. Yeah, the book's available. Sorry, the book will be on sale tomorrow. Thank you for the feedback I got on the front cover. Yeah, it was a bit clunky, a bit too much text. That's been reduced. And the lost chapter of Acts of the Apostles, chapter 29. Yeah, if anyone wants to have a chat about this chapter 29, because there's only 28 in the Bible, just so you know, and then the 29th chapter is claimed to be found, which talks all about Christian messages coming to Britain and stuff like that. Very interesting. Tell us about Jesus in Wales. All right, that's reasonable. Thank you. All right, I'll give something of the story. It seems only fair. And the book is done. Right, the way the story... Give an overview of the story. All right, slow down, Ross. Right. In the book, you'll see the historical background to who Jesus was, who his wife was. The book should be printed and sent out in about 3 weeks, okay? What's the group email, mate? Yeah, just email me, ross@cymroglyphics.com. Thank you very much. So the situation was, we had two very important dynasties coming together. You got Cleopatra's side, on his wife's side, because he would have been married. He was a rabbi, so it'd be very strange if he wasn't married. There would have been comment about that, and his wife, Alan Wilson's worked out, is the... Right, we'll go back a few generations. Right, well, she's the daughter of Cleopatra the Eighth and King Juba of Nubia, which is, I think, where the dark-skinned stories come from. Maybe the Black Madonna stories about landing in the south of France. Alan doesn't really go into that, but I think that's all related to it. So the mother of Cleopatra the Eighth was, of course, Cleopatra the Seventh, and she's the famous one who married Mark Antony of Antony and Cleopatra. So she's not just Cleopatra, she's Cleopatra the Seventh, okay? So the point of this is that through her father, she has an inheritance claim on Nubia in Africa. Through her mother, she is there. Got to remember, the Egyptians go through their female line. There's a claim to the throne of Egypt. Mark Antony is the equestrian class. He's part of the original founding. He was more senior than Caesar, actually. So through that, we've got a claim to the Roman Empire. You've got Jesus then, who's Idumean. He has a claim to the Judean throne and possibly a claim to the British throne. So between these two, they've got all the marbles. They've got the 5 major kingdoms of that era in the Western Mediterranean. So they're extremely important. We're not talking about humble carpentry here, because any children they have enormous claims. So what Wilson Blackett do then is go through all the politics of the time, how this fits in with the Roman Empire, how Tiberius dealt with it, how Sejanus came along, how Herod fits into it, how they're trying to get all this to work, and then how Paul comes on the scene. Saulus becomes Paul, trying to break up this sect. And if you look in the Bible, this is not you'll find that most of the references are from the Bible. I've never read my Bible so much as when I was doing the research and putting the quotes together for this book. It says in there, it says that, excuse me. Oh, that's better. No, it's not. I thought I could breathe for a second then. Yeah, it's just gone bonkers the last few hours. I haven't been ill all day. So, so we have the situation then. I lost my thread slightly. Sorry, Paul comes along. Oh, yeah. In the Bible, it says, Jesus says, get your swords. This is going to be an armed insurrection. And the way Wilson Blackett look at things then is that what has been watered down and passed through the generations as they're throwing the money changers out of the church, this was the start of a full-scale riot, insurrection, and independence battle. And during all this, things went badly, and some key people were taken hostage, most noticeably the son of Jesus. And this has become then twisted in the modern story where you have Barabbas, so you got Bar, the son of, Abbas is the master, Barabbas, son of the master. So you have that famous scene in the Bible where the crowds are choosing between Jesus and Barabbas, who should be freed, who should be executed. So they explain all that. So all your Bibles, not attacking on the Bible, and we go through all this. So then you have the crucifixion, then what happens to the Holy Family? Did Jesus survive the crucifixion? Slightly controversial subject. And then if you look at the map of Europe, or the Mediterranean, where would you go? Where would you go? The Romans are killing Christians, This is the last place you want to be. They're executing them, they're disgusting things like crucifixions, feeding to lions. I mean, it's all around dreadful, human candles. How anyone thinks Christianity started in Rome, it just goes against all the evidence. It's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So what we have then, so the Holy Family comes back to Britain and marries into the British royal family. So this is why you have so many places in South Wales called Saint this and Saint that, Saint Fagans, Saint Athens, Saint everywhere. Because they consider themselves married into the Holy Family, so they were the original Christians. So the first Christian king was probably Bran, going right back to the 1st century. Caradoc, you might know as Caractacus. Of course, he gets captured, he gets betrayed, he gets handed over. and gets taken to Rome. And rather than execute him, he gets to form a British embassy, effectively, Britanniam Plantium. And this is where you see the birth of Christianity in the Roman part, but it's persecuted. His own daughter gets prosecuted. It's a very strange situation, though, because her husband's the judge, so it might be a show child or something. But then you have the early British are there protecting the first Christians. If you go to, there's a place mentioned in the book as well, I'll get it exactly right now. Well, it's Potencia anyway, but it's, what's it called? The Church of Potencia, who's one of the daughters of Cranach, and she married a Roman called Pudens, which is why her name changes. So they were going collecting the bones of the early martyrs and storing them, and below the catacombs, below Rome, you'll see thousands, not millions of bones of early Christians being killed by the Romans. The book doesn't go into that so much, okay? Let's go there. So we got Jennifer. Jesus didn't go to Wales after the resurrection. Didn't go after the resurrection, but went before. Paul wouldn't have needed to go to Britain if that was the case. Jesus being in Britain would essentially disprove Acts 29. Okay, well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people don't think Acts 29 is a genuine book. It's no real good provenance for it. So, one of the things the book does talk about is what counts as canon, who decides what books go in and which books don't go in. Because if you go to, even if you go in Britain, if you go to different churches, there's different books. So when people say every word is the word of God, well, okay, why is there different books in different churches then? You have what's called the Apocrypha, which is a dozen books that are used in the Roman Catholic Church, but not used in the Protestant Church. So are they canon or not? Yeah, go on.
They had religious education at school. And there just one thing about, they were saying how in one bit he said just turn the other cheek, and then the other bit's an eye for an eye. So how does that really work?
Oh, well, you got Old Testament and New Testament there, I suppose, haven't you? The idea is the New Testament is supposed to show forgiveness. But there are contradictions, yeah. But anyway, move on. So Acts 29 is not really part of the book. I don't know how convincing that is. Yeah, Alan Reese is saying there, St. Paul and St. Peter came to Britain. Bishop Clements wrote that Peter preached in the extremities of the West, and the legend of Peter preaching in Glamorgan. Well, yes, again, not addressed directly, but indirectly, yes. We do have the church up on one of the gear, which is called St. Peter's or Llanbedr, which Wilson and Blackett bought. Yeah, then you got, as Alan said, Jesus drank the hyssop and conscious for a few days. Well, he wasn't on the cross a few days. He's only on the cross for a few hours. And then in the in the Bible, then it explains. The Bible. Yeah, in the Bible, it explains that people came out and brought aloe, which is for healing bruising. It's not for embalming dead bodies. And the word soma is used when Joseph Arimathea asks for the body when he goes to Herod. Or Pilate, sorry. Which means a living person, living body, rather than a corpse. So, there's lots of stuff to say he didn't die on the cross, but you can read all about that in the book. What becomes very interesting then is how you can see this Christian history in Britain then, where it becomes the first Christian kingdom. And there's loads of evidence to show 156. Lyrig, he was the one who could be Lear, by the way. He made the country the first officially Christian, the whole country. So there's stacks of evidence, and the book's packed with references, and then we got physical evidence looking at clues on the stones and things, and the one part which is just amazing. Sorry, the piercing with the lance is very important. Yes, it is, Gary, you're quite right, and it's not really dealt with in the book too much, but I have looked into this myself. The way the blood flows, this isn't part of the book, so I don't really care if I'm guessing a bit. But if you look in the certain translations of the Bible, a clear liquid comes out. And then it's all to do with when the blood fills the side when you're dead or alive. A bit of a grisly subject, really. Do you realise, for example, when I was researching, modern medicine doesn't really know why you die in crucifixion. What kills you? Had to rewind Miss Stylene. Nice job, boyos. You can't sing, you can't dance, you look terrible, you go a long way. Yes, I know that one for the commitments. Excellent. It was just an advert or something, didn't it? So anyway, we're the second half of the book. It's very much about how things came. Doctors have proved he was dead. Which doctors have proved he was dead? Is that Jesus? Well, I think the thing's only up there a few hours. So what did he actually die of? There's no reason why he would die.
Also, how do they prove it if they weren't there?
Yeah, I don't know how you prove it either, but this is the point. This is where it's difficult. The good news, I would say, and this is what I really want to emphasise for Christians, and it's an introduction I want to... If someone can help me, it'd be great. There's that interview that Alan does where he talks about Jesus and critical thought and stuff. I want to transcribe some of that to use as an introduction, Alan's own words, to say it's not an attack on the church. And I've always been a church-going Christian in that. And one of the things that used to really upset me was the story of the crucifixion. And the fact of him hanging up there in agony and dying this horrible, slow, painful death. So, if it's the case, he's only up there a few hours, he didn't die and he recovered, I think that's good news, because it didn't seem to affect the birth of Christianity, which started in Wales and then spread out all across Gore and places like that. The first crusade actually being by Clovis against the British Christians in Gore. So kind of says he dies from asphyxia, heavy blood loss and a form of shock. That's one possibility, but there are theories. If you look at it, I'm not quite sure why he would have died. A fairly healthy young man would usually take 3 or 4 days. This is why it was so cruel. You sort of slip, but then you come back up again, and so I know people have problems with this. The emphasis I would like to say is, as Alan Wilson always says, it's concentrate on the song, not the singer. This is the thing. Everyone's so obsessed with whether or not Jesus did walk on water or change water to wine or do all these things. By the way, they are explained in the book as well, a lot of that stuff, why he did these things. So, but they're not. The important thing was the message that he brought. And if you do go with this version of events, that he came to Britain, and then the people flocked to him. And this could be where the Fisher King legends come from. You got this sort of crippled, disabled person. It would have been a horrible experience, the crucifixion, no doubts about that. And the things mentioned there, scourging and that kind of stuff. So he wouldn't have been bodily whole, which is why he would not have been able to be a rabbi anymore, and he would have gone over to his brother James the Just. So, to me, it's an optimistic message, because churches are emptying. This is the point Alan's making as well. Churches are emptying, people are turning away, they don't go for this medieval superstition stuff. But, so on the one hand, your choice is, Jesus either sort of, sorry, I don't want to sound sacrilegious on a Sunday evening, but as Alan puts it, Jesus either took off and ascended from a street corner and became the world's first astronaut, because where is he exactly, up in there? Or we have this story which is well recorded and we have a burial site. So please don't be offended, it's not meant to be an attack. Yeah, he's been scourged, yeah, but everyone got scourged, but they still lived for 3 or 4 days. Scourging doesn't kill you, it might hurt a lot, but it's going to kill you. And if you look into people's looking at, it's a horrible subject, but if you look at why people die from crucifixions, it's pretty horrible. Some people say it's blood loss, some people say it's, one is that every time you drop down you can't breathe, so you have to push yourself back up. And they even put a little ridge so you can sit on, very uncomfortably. So you kind of perch, as you get tired you drop, you can't breathe, push yourself back up again. This will go on for days. Absolutely horrendous. And the other thing that is worth looking at is, in the films, obviously they're miles up in the air, whereas that was not the case either. It'd be at eye level. You don't need to be a few inches off the ground. Why waste all that wood having him feet up in the sky, as it were? As long as you're a few inches off the ground, 6 inches would do, so people will be looking at you. So it's like an extreme version of the stocks. Your arms are pinned. I mean, it is horrendous. You know, people can throw things, do things to you. It's horrendous in every way. And that's the Roman civilization for you. It could have been an X or a cross. Yeah, I don't think these things are so important, but you're right, yeah. So so what we're doing now, you might not have been nailed either, by the way. Not all crucifixions were done with nails. Just tie you up.
Oh, like at the end of Spartacus?
Just tie you on with rope, and maybe put one nail through the ankles.
Oh, is that like the end of Spartacus?
Well, they didn't want you to die quickly, this is the point. What happened with the crucifixion? I'm Spartacus.
No. Is that like the end of Spartacus?
Well, I think they nailed him up, don't they?
No, but on the thing, you can clearly tell they just duct taped him to a piece of wood.
Well, that's Hollywood. I'm not sure you're supposed to really crucify Kirk Douglas. People wouldn't be having that, would they? Yeah, he was meant to be tortured. He meant to die very slowly. It's horrific. So, anyways, we get back then to the evidence then, and you can see on stones, and the absolute genius of Wilson and Blackett. I will have to talk about this on a show, maybe next week. I have touched on it, and it's using the King's lists, or the King lists. So what you would have is everyone's into the genealogy, and they would... oh, by the way, someone mentioned Longinus and the spear. For some bizarre reason, there's a story that Longinus came to Wales and ended his days in Chepstow, so... I don't know about the shroud. 4 nails in the tomb of Caiaphas. Oh, okay. I don't know how that comes into it. I know Caiaphas was obviously the prosecutor at the trial of Jesus. Who I had the pleasure of reading his part in a church event a couple of years ago. Excuse me. Oh. Yeah, the Ankh is much older than the Christian cross. They do look similar. Yes, and also you got the cross meaning welcome in hieroglyphics. Anyway. Yes, you have these king lists, and the problem you have in Wales is that enormous persecution, particularly this story, it might even be one of the reasons why the Romans wanted to invade when they did under Claudius, because you got the Paulentius who took that strike party up to Anismorn or Anglesey and killed all those people, unarmed, it's heroic. Oh, they were screaming at us and shouting curses. It was terrifying. There's a load of old men and women in long black robes, totally unarmed. He went in and butchered the lot, It's, oh, well done you, what a hero, because they were shouting. It was a bit scary. It's ridiculous. But the curious thing there, of course, the black is not a druidic colour. So maybe they were an early bunch of what we would call Christians now, although whether or not they call themselves Christians as such is I don't know, a different area. So, yes, Helen had bridal bits made out of the nails for her son.
What's a bridal bit?
Goes in the horse's mouth like that. Yeah, the bit. So what they did was to smuggle out the nails of the cross. Helen, I suppose, brought them back to Wales, which is another story, which I'll put a little...
What's so special about the nails?
Well, it's the true cross that Jesus was crucified on. That's why it's special, yeah. Good question. So you got the bits of the cross itself, which they sold as relics. People in Middle Ages times were very superstitious. I believe that if you touched the nail, you could be cured. If you touched pieces of the cross, you would be blessed, things like that. So there's a massive incentive, such as Glastonbury, to fake a lot of these things. Anyway, that's the story with that one. The way you come on to is the King's List. So what you do is you have a few well-known names at the beginning of the list, maybe going back to Masken Ledig or one of these very famous names, and the last few names would be very famous, and the middle are not names at all. This is the amazing thing. I think I covered some of this last week. They're actually messages where they talk about the crucifixion and Jesus surviving. So, and then we got other evidence and the book, and then of course the crescendo of the book, the finale, is trying to work out where he's buried. So there's the choices really. You've got all this evidence and the story of a burial, or you've got, sending up into the sky somewhere. So, but by the way, that ascension story was added hundreds of years after the Bible, because people were digging holes all around Jerusalem trying to find out where he was buried. And of course, because they couldn't say when he went to Britain, the ascension story was added much later. So that's quite crucial piece of evidence. So there we go. Right. So thank you for that question. Didn't Edward Longshanks claim Arthur's crown and a piece of the true cross when he killed Llewellyn the Last? Yes. Something like that, yes. The story is that you had the Iron Crown of Wales, which I would suggest is the inspiration for G.R.R. Martin's Iron Throne in Game of Thrones. Because there still are. This is one we've got to get on to. And you might use psychic archaeology again, because you have the 13 great treasures of Britain, and they're still hidden. And we got some clues as to where they be hidden. So you've got I can't remember them all. I'm trying to learn them all yet. But you've got things like these cauldrons, which Alan Wilson explains why you have magic cauldrons, what they do in another book now. What they cover is just phenomenal. Nowadays, you make it known there is someone buried in your garden. The police will come and dig over your veg plot for you. Right, thank you for that one. And I'm not sure that's the most recommended way of doing it. David Jidge also said, I once stuck a needle in the vein of a living man and out came water.
Why did you do that?
Yeah, why did you do that? Are you a nurse or something? You trying to take some blood or something like that?
Or was he just...
Yes.
Or was he just not giving you the money for the stuff?
So with thank you, Ollie. So I think the story of Edward Longshanks, the problem he had was he was trying to threaten the kings of North Wales, like Llewellyn and that. But all the treasure was in South Wales, so I don't think they even had it. So Alan says they refused to hand it over to the crown. I doubt they even knew where it was because they're North Wales, aren't they? There are 2 holy rods. The rod of Moses is in the Vatican. Constantinople, Istanbul, Hagia Sophia Mosque. I'll say that twice. They're both fighting over the rod. Trying to give fluids for recitation. He had clotted. Nice. Right. Thank you, David. Okay, on a happy note. What's going on with you? Well, no, it's an important point he's making there, Nearly, because we're talking about that if you look in the Bible, when Jesus gets stabbed, clear liquid comes out rather than blood. So, was he alive? Was he dead? All that kind of stuff. Right, okay, I'm going to go and maybe have that brandy and go and lie down, I think. Arnie, you going to play us out with something?
Sure, what should I play?
Ooh. Not Come On, I Need again.
No.
I think Hardy wanted to play it, just get it out of the way, I think. The full song is 6 minutes, by the way. We cut it down to about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. So,
less than that, a minute.
So I'm sorry I'm so... I need a yes again. We could instrumentalise it on. I know I can sing. I'm going to do some clap-sing slowly here.
I can play it again.
Yay! 3 brandies at least and lemon honey. Yeah, I think I'll have a hot toddy. Yeah, go on. I just play the little bit of... Yeah, I'm not going to bother playing. Thank you all. Sorry to end it. Please no. It won't be me, Gary. Just Arnie. No more of me singing. I'm sorry. I'll be back flying again tomorrow. Okay. I hope that wasn't too bad. There's a clear liquid we call lymph. Oh, okay. So look out for the book. Go on sale tomorrow. Okay. Get well soon. Thank you. Hoyle vow. I just want to get my guitar and join in now, but maybe I shouldn't. Hey, David! The extent of Roman influence has been heavily falsified and exaggerated, making a believable prop like a shroud can't be beyond the Vatican. Yeah, I don't know too much about the shroud, really. Solo is better. Yeah, I agree, thank you. I'm way past the stage of taking it personally about my singing and stuff. I sing for my pleasure. Alright, so thank you very much, everybody. It's been a great turnout again. And during the week, hopefully, I'll have this chat up with Robin Heath, interview with Lee Pennington, and I'm going to start putting up more short videos in the mornings now the book's going out the door. Okay, so cheers all. Guitar was okay. That's pretty good for me. And I'll put, if you want to carry on the chat on the comments, I will leave it running a bit with a bit of Barham's music, okay? Or Arnie can play as long as he wants. So, until next week. God bless everybody. I go with brandy to lie down, go to bed. Nos star pob heddwch. We can jam it a bit, will you? Yay! Well done, Arnie B. I think I'll put some. Hang on a second. Let's put something on from Baram.
Spicy foods will help.
Yeah, sweat it out, eh?
Yes,
Bit of spicy food.
Is horrible.
Well, you haven't got to eat it. It's me's got to eat it, alright? And don't forget, you can buy copies of St. Patrick's Rock.
Yeah, always available.
Always available. It can be available for a long time, I think. Oh, poor old Baram. He'd love it if we bought more.
Maybe we should put them on Everything Must Go offer.
Yeah, Baram doesn't like that. Hang on a second. Open. There we go. A little bit of music. Hang on. We should blast everybody's eardrums, Ross. There we go. Right, I'm going to go and have a lie down. I should turn this off soon. Everyone can carry on with their chat. Okay, North Star. play a bit while you chat. I'm just gonna freewheel. Bit more Arnie playing, so if you want to make any comments, carry on. Yeah, very nice song. Thanks. Just in case there's any doubt over who was carrying who earlier in that duet. Well, I'll give this, for that performance, I'm going to give this 8 out of 10. Yeah, I get 6, and you get the 10, average of 8. Well done, Arnie. Bye-bye.
There's a guy and a girl driving down the highway, you can tell. Even in the misty rain. They told me they never gave a cent, not even